You kids have it so easy now? Just show some initiative. In my day, we worked hard and were loyal to our company. These are the words that echo across a generational chasm, pieces of advice from a playbook that no longer exists. They are offered as wisdom but land as insults because the world they describe is a ghost. If Gen Z really has it all, why are they the most burnout, anxious, and financially poor generation in the 21st century? Is it their fault, or were they sabotaged from the start? This isn't a story about generational whining, it's a structural analysis, an investigation into a series of deliberate economic and political choices that dismantled the American dream and left a generation to navigate the ruins. We were told the game was fair, but they forgot to mention it was rigged. This video will expose how 4 compounding structural failures, economic, social, technological, and workplace, created a crisis that defines a generation. If you've ever felt like you're playing a game you were designed to lose, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button because we're about to expose how the board was tilted. 1. The perfect setup. The system broke before they arrived. To understand the crisis facing Gen Z, we must first understand the world they were promised. A world built for a different generation. The baby boomers entered adulthood with a powerful, if unwritten, social contract. It was an ecosystem of shared prosperity built on 3 core pillars designed for long-term stability. The first pillar was the promise of a secure retirement guaranteed by defined benefit pensions. For millions, loyalty was a tangible asset. You worked for a company for your career, and in return, the company shouldered all the financial risk, paying you a guaranteed income for the rest of your life. In 1980, 38% of all private sector workers were covered by these plans. Loyalty wasn't just a virtue, it was a rational economic calculation. The second pillar was accessible, high-quality education. Fueled by massive public investment, state-funded universities were exceptionally affordable, and in some places, like California, effectively free. In the late 1980s, direct state funding accounted for as much as 77% of public university revenue, ensuring that a degree was a stepping stone, not a sentence of lifelong debt. The final pillar was the cornerstone of the American dream, the attainable home. In 1985, as boomers entered their prime home buying years, the median house price was just 3.5 times the median household income. This ratio made homeownership a realistic goal, the primary vehicle for building middle-class wealth. Pensions, public universities, and affordable homes, these weren't lucky breaks, they were the structural supports of the post-war economy, but beginning in the 1980s, these pillars were systematically demolished. Each decision, from deregulating finance to defunding education, set off a chain reaction. These were the first dominoes to fall, pushed by the very generations who had benefited from them, creating a cascade of debt, instability, and insecurity that would crash squarely down on Gen Z. They didn't just inherit a changing world, they inherited a structurally broken one. 2. The debt trap and the dream that lied. The first promise to be broken was education. Gen Z is on track to be the most educated generation in American history, but they are paying a brutal price for it. The average Gen Z student loan borrower holds a balance of nearly $23,000, but the true cost isn't the loan itself, it's the wealth that is never built. A study by the Pew Research Center found that young, college-educated households without student debt have a median net worth of $64,700. For those with student debt, that number collapses to just $8,700. That's 7 times less wealth. A financial black hole that delays major life milestones for a staggering 84% of Gen Z borrowers. The second broken promise, the dream of homeownership, is now a statistical fantasy. When boomers were buying their first homes, the median home price was about 3.5 times the median income. For Gen Z, that ratio has skyrocketed to 5.6, a record high. This isn't just about missing out on a white picket fence, it's about being locked out of the primary engine of wealth creation in America. The wealth gap between homeowners and renters has now reached a historic high of nearly $390,000. They told us to chase success, but sold us debt instead. This economic sabotage was a deliberate, decades-long project. Beginning in the late 1970s and accelerating through the 1980s, a wave of financial deregulation fundamentally rewrote the rules. Defined benefit pensions were systematically replaced by 401ks, transferring all retirement risk from the corporation to the individual worker. Corporate culture became obsessed with short-term shareholder value, viewing long-term investments, like on-the-job training, as costs to be cut. Simultaneously, state funding for higher education was systematically choked off. To make up for lost funds, universities began competing for tuition dollars, sparking a campus arms race of lavish amenities that further inflated the sticker price, all enabled by the ever-expanding availability of federal student loans. The state was no longer funding the schools, it was now funding the students' debt. Each decision reinforced the others, creating a perfect trap set for the next generation. 3. The psychological warfare, technological sabotage. We didn't just inherit a broken economy, we inherited broken expectations, amplified 24/7 by a machine engineered to exploit human insecurity, social media. Gen Z is the first generation to navigate profound economic instability while living inside a global, algorithmically curated comparison engine. These platforms are designed for addiction. They exploit the brain's dopamine loop, a cycle of reward and reinforcement that keeps us endlessly scrolling. As Stanford psychiatrist Anna Lemick puts it, the smartphone has become the modern-day hypodermic needle, delivering digital dopamine to a wired generation. Each notification, like and share, triggers a small burst of this feel-good chemical, creating a feedback loop that reinforces compulsive use. But the most insidious effect is comparison culture. A staggering 93% of young people feel pressure to compare themselves to the curated perfect lives they see online, especially when it comes to wealth and success. This constant algorithmically fueled comparison is directly linked to soaring rates of anxiety and depression. The US Surgeon General has issued a stark warning. For adolescents, spending more than 3 hours a day on social media doubles the risk of experiencing depression and anxiety symptoms. This creates a cruel psychological trap. Economic anxiety drives them online for distraction or gig opportunities, where they are then exposed to content that algorithmically amplifies their feelings of inadequacy and failure. It is a unique form of warfare waged on a generation's psyche, a battle fought not on a field but on a feed. They are not just fighting a broken system, they are fighting their own brains, which are being weaponized against them by a technology designed to make them feel like they are never enough. This is the psychological sabotage that compounds every economic hardship, turning personal struggle into a public performance of inadequacy. 4. The workplace trap, organizational sabotage. For those who navigate the gauntlet of debt and digital anxiety, the final trap awaits: the modern job market. The boomer advice to get your foot in the door has become a cruel joke. First, they face the experience paradox. As companies obsessed with short-term costs abandoned internal training, they began demanding 3 to 5 years of experience for jobs advertised as entry-level. It's a structural catch-22, a barrier designed to keep new entrants out before they can even begin. Employers seeking to minimize risk opt for proven performers over promising novices, collectively diminishing the talent pipeline for everyone. Now, a more formidable threat has emerged: artificial intelligence. The very jobs that once formed the first rung of the career ladder, basic tasks in marketing, HR, and engineering, are being automated into oblivion. A recent analysis shows entry-level hiring in these fields has plummeted by over 70%. A Stanford study found that in professions most exposed to AI, employment for workers aged 22 to 25 has already declined by 13% in just 3 years. The brutal logic was summarized by one UC Berkeley professor: why hire an undergraduate when AI is cheaper and quicker? Faced with a system that refuses to invest in them, Gen Z's response is entirely rational. They refuse to be exploited. The quiet quitting phenomenon isn't laziness, it's a conscious rebellion against a broken contract. A decision to simply act your wage when going above and beyond is no longer rewarded. The burnout crisis, with a staggering 83% of Gen Z frontline workers feeling its effects, is the logical result of investing maximum energy for minimum return. Their demand for work-life balance is not entitlement. It's a rational refusal to be consumed by a system that has proven it will not reward their sacrifice. It's a boundary drawn in the sand against a culture of exploitation. 5. The awakening in the post-system blueprint, the solution. Betrayed by the promise of stability, mental well-being, and a fair career path, Gen Z is not giving up. They are doing the only logical thing when the game is rigged. They are refusing to play by the old rules and are creating their own. This is the birth of the post-system life. The post-system life is not a trend. It is a survival strategy built on flexibility and diversification. Instead of risking their entire financial future on a single employer, a fear some call single paycheck panic, they are building portfolio careers. This is a strategic web of freelancing side hustles and multiple income streams designed to create financial resilience in an unstable world. This is not a fringe movement. According to Deloitte, 46% of Gen Z workers are already participating in the gig economy. And a survey from Fiverr reveals that 67% of Gen Z see multiple income streams as essential for their financial security. This isn't just about driving for Uber, it's a fundamental shift to an entrepreneurial mindset. They are turning instability into autonomy. By becoming the entrepreneurs of their own careers, they are reclaiming the control that the traditional path no longer offers. This is not an admission of defeat. It is a brilliant adaptation. They are developing skills faster, building powerful personal brands, and designing lives where work serves their values, not the other way around. Their rejection of the corporate ladder isn't a rejection of ambition. It's a rejection of a structure that no longer leads anywhere meaningful for them. The awakening of Gen Z is a quiet revolution. They are not just trying to survive in the wreckage of the old system. They are planting the seeds of a new model for success, one founded on resilience, adaptability, and a courageous refusal to be defined by a system that failed them. Conclusion. They didn't ruin the world. They inherited one that was already ruined. The ultimate measure of a society's promise is whether its children will have a better life than their parents. For those born in the 1940s, the chance of earning more was 90%, a near certainty. For Gen Z, that chance has plummeted to 50%, a coin toss. The sabotage is complete. But this story doesn't end with a generation of victims. It ends with a generation of pragmatic rebels. Their quiet quitting is a demand for boundaries. Their portfolio careers are a hedge against a world that offered them no security. They are not trying to play a rigged game, they are building a new one. The choice is now to adapt and rebuild the rules of success. What is your biggest realization from this analysis? Share it in the comments below. And if you're ready to explore the blueprint for the post-system life, subscribe to GenShift for the insights you need to build a future that works.